It's one way to look forward to 2015 and also to technology. Well, South Africa's economy will have to recover from the platform or platinum mining strikes. We're thinking about the post office strikes that happened last year, also towards the end of the year. But personal spending habits, where does it leave us? Are we more savvy as South Africans? What is our top priority of the year ahead? Now, we're talking trends this morning, and we're talking specific economy trends. And this morning, we're speaking to Dawie Roodt, Director and Chief Economist of the Efficient Group. He will be telling us about possible trends in the economy for 2015 and also how we should be approaching our finances for the year ahead to make sure that we leave 2015 financially successful. Dawie, good morning and welcome to the show.
And good morning to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Happy New Year. And also, how can South Africa save more money? I mean, we want to spend less this year.
That is a major problem. I think the first place to start off with is with the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance, he's a very, very powerful guy. He takes a lot of money out of our pockets, and he spends his money on all sort of things, like, for example, housing and education and countries and all sort of stuff. And if you go through the numbers, you will realize that the Minister of Finance borrows massive amounts of money every year. But it's okay to borrow money, provided you spend this money on capital stuff, like, for example, to buy a new house or a new business, but it's not a good idea to borrow money to go on holiday. And the Minister of Finance, I'm afraid, is borrowing a lot of money to actually spend to go on holiday, so to speak. So that's the first place to start, to get the Minister of Finance to stop destroying capital, because he's destroying a lot of capital by spending and borrowing too much money. The second one for individuals, and I think that's very important as well, we as individuals, we simply do not save enough money in South Africa. The majority of South Africans cannot retire financially independent because they haven't saved enough. And how do you do that? Well, actually, it's much easier than what people think. You need to be a little bit disciplined, but the first thing that you have to start off with is to have a plan. You must have a plan. And I'm not talking about the budget. The budget is part of the plan. I talk about a family plan. You and your family, you get together once or twice a year and you go through your plan. And in your plan, it really depends on your family, but in your plan there should be things like, for example, are we going to go on holiday? Do we need a new car? Must we go overseas? Are the kids going to go to university? All those sort of things. And we talk as a family together and we plan our future as a family. And then we have other plans, like a retirement plan or a budget and stuff like that. So that is the most important key to preparing for the future, and that is to have a plan.
I'm glad you're talking about this and a plan for the family, because when it comes to our finances, it's not an individual thing. I mean, you brought in that it's a thing for the country, it's a thing for your family. I'm thinking of Deloitte's annual report that came out last year about Christmas spending and the fact that we as South Africans are becoming a little bit more savvy. There's different kinds of technology and even payment methods out there that's helping us along to almost make us more savvy. Dit maak ons amper slimmer wanneer dit kom by om ons kaarte te swipe en om geld te spandeer. Do you think that for the rest of the year, this kind of trend within our own pockets will continue? What do you forecast for South Africans in terms of spending?
Okay, let's have a look at the South African economy from a macro perspective first of all, and see where we are in terms of spending and in terms of savings. The South African economy produces X amount of goods and services. Say, let's call it 100. We produce 100 in the South African economy, but we consume 106. That's what we consume. So we consume far more than what we produce. And although there could be some improvement of some of these tendencies and trends, the reality is that we are so far deep in the red that there's a lot we need to do in order to get the country's finances in order. The only way that through which you can consume more than what you produce is by borrowing from other countries, and that's what we're doing as South Africans. But you're absolutely right. Some of the individual trends on a household level are certainly pointing in the right direction, and I think a very important reason for that is the economic reality. People realize that listen, I simply do not have enough money to repay this loan, so I'm not going to take out this loan. Or many people actually lose their jobs, and they do not have jobs, and therefore you can't get a loan. And the reality also is that interest rates recently started going up a little bit, and that also discourages people to borrow more money. But I think in the end, the answer to this is really to make sure that we have an educated people in South Africa to know and to understand and to realize the consequences if you overextend yourself financially.
Okay, well, with the consequences, and definitely we're forecasting, we're talking trends and economic trends, financial trends in South Africa specifically with Dawie Roodt. We're going to touch base with Dawie again later on this morning because I want to touch on the petrol price and the fact that we are in a better position at this stage. Well, talking about trends, in 2015, we're also predicting trends in terms of motoring. In fact, Ewan and Chiro has the story.